Shouts out Big Steve.
Michael Bisman, UFC Mexico, Moreno versus Kavanagh. Good card, a lot of chalk. We're going to bet it. We're going to make money on it. We're going to break it down. Did we make money last week? No, we didn't. We didn't, but and I didn't do an early tease because I got annoyed that I was shitting on Fluffy Hernandez for years, and when it came time to fade him with Sean Strickland, I didn't do it. And instead, I went with the over, a chalky over, even though I thought Strickland would knock him out. So you can imagine how I felt when Sean got that KO in round 3, which was a difference between a profit or a loss for me, that card, and also for the month. So a bit of a frustrating year, but doesn't matter. We're going to clean up, end of the day. It just hasn't started yet, that's all. So let's get into it. Let's break down this card because we look forward, not back. All right, well, let's go. So I have a feeling this card will finally deliver. The UFC has been a bit underwhelming from a violence perspective, but I think this is it in Mexico. Where's Schultz versus Damian Pinas? Let that marinate a little bit. Yeah, both guys making the debut. Well, Schultz, lucky to get into the UFC, in my opinion, coming off submitting a bum. And, the guy will grapple. He'll pull guard. He's not really the best fighter, honestly. Damian Pinas, 23 years of age. He is much more talented, but he's a little bit green, especially with the grappling. He will pull for guillotine. Kind of like Del Valle last week against Jordan Levitt. You hope that he's improved a little bit on that and that he's not going to pull guillotine. But yeah, I think Schultz potentially could get a takedown just because of that from Damian. But I reckon Damian still wins a back and forth fight. He knocks him out at some point. The under 1.5 rounds is minus 200. I don't know how I feel about that. I do think the Wes Schultz is quite tough, but he's also a little bit gassy. He's a little bit flimsy. And then also everyone that Wes Schultz has finished is an absolute bum. Right? That Mario guy, Dustin Pepe, Benson in LFA, Morris in LFA. Right? Just all dudes that he should be finishing, and there's one or two that he didn't finish. He couldn't finish Dylan Budka. So yeah, I think Pinas eventually knocks him out. So, and it's better than minus 200, which is the under. So if you can hope and pray that he's not going to finish Pinas. Let's see what Pinas KO is on Bet365. $1.68. Yeah, not much better. He was better on Pinnacle. I assume the odds are shifting. But yeah, that's it. Maybe live bet it. See how Schultz goes after round 1. Alrighty. Erik Silva versus Francis Marshall. Marshall, massive favorite. It makes sense. The guy is having an almost losing record in the UFC, or it is a losing record. Let me just check because it's bothering me. Win. Nah, just 3-3 in the UFC, right? Whereas Erik Silva is not really anyone. He's 38 years of age. He got on to the UFC again, beating Enmar Boizanov, a striker that was 3-0 at the time. Now he's got a salty-ass record. Everyone finishes him. Got finished by TJ Brown and then got injured by Muhammad Naimov in 2024. Literally 2 years ago, massive layoff, knee surgery, already old and crap. So, yeah, I do feel like Francis Marshall should run through him. He really should. The guy has been submitted by TJ Brown and someone else. In round 3, Marshall, great at taking the back, even though he has a bunch of decisions. The over Dennis Bazookia, who he hurt. Connor Matthews, who he beat the piss out of. He almost submitted William Gomez in the last round. He couldn't get a takedown in the first 2 rounds. When he finally did, he almost submits him. So yeah, I think he should beat an old Erik Silva who is not really UFC level. There's a few ways to play it. You can play the under 1.5 rounds at Pick'em if you think you'll run through them in the first 1.5 rounds. You can play the KO like a lot of lads in the Discord are playing, just because there's a bit of value on it. You can play his inside distance. I think minus 200 is the best line. Just whatever you feel. You can just parlay him. Like what is Erik Silva's path here, really? Probably just a knockout because Marshall is a little bit hittable, but the chin seems to have held up so far. So, yeah, they're setting up Francis Marshall here, which is interesting because he's not even Mexican. But alrighty. Ernesta Kareckaite versus Regina Tarin. I was actually fading Ernesta with Sofia Montenegro, and it seems like the whole entire world was. So now that fight's off, they're giving Regina Tarin on 3 days' notice, but she was already signed to the UFC, I'm pretty sure. And honestly, I feel like fading her with Regina as well. Regina kind of reminds me of a Mexican Killer Miller, that just fought over Kareckaite, but just likes to strike a bit more. She's tall, long. She kind of also reminds me of Sabita Mazo, just in her face. But she goes for body locks. She gets a lot of her finishes on the ground. No real good wins other than, you can say, Caitlin O'Neill. Caitlin O'Neill was on the Female Ultimate Fighter. Killer Miller actually submitted it to make it to tough finale. So for her age, she's pretty good, but ultimately, Ernesta's got some good advantages like cardio, volume, but she's a split decision merchant and she can't really beat anyone. Her best win is Kareckaite, who was on very short notice and gassed out. But outside of that, lost to Diane Barbosa, was kind of close in the end because Diane gassed, and then almost lost a split to Nicole Cagliari, who is not UFC level. So yeah, again, it's a dogger pass for me for Tarin, and I was hoping the line would be a bit better, man. I honestly thought, 3 days notice, unknown commodity, the bookies would not be on it, but where is she now? Let me have a look. Oh, it's kind of improving, plus 160. I thought it was plus 150 before. We'll see where this goes. I think Tarin can get takedowns, but I think Ernesta Kareckaite has really good submission defense, right? Diana Barbosa had her back, had her in some R-bars, and she survived. So it's kind of like, do you think Regina can get a decision in Mexico? We'll see. Alrighty, let me address the one comment we have in here from a boy, Aussie Fight Fan. I'm hearing a rumor this card is at cloud level. Oh, I guess so. Yeah. It's elevation. I try not to take elevation too much into consideration here, but maybe good for the unders, right? I know someone did, maybe the Fight Numbers boys years ago did like a stat thing where at elevation there's a lot more subs, and then he ended up being proven true on one of those cards. So I mean, who can get subs here? Marshall, there's Schultz, Tarin. All right, let's move on. Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Javier Reyes. Interesting fight. Douglas de Silva de Andrade moving up back to featherweight. He's 40 years of age. Honestly, it will probably be Javier Reyes' best win. Javier Reyes, he's a typical Mexican kind of dog. I know he's Colombian, but comes forward. He likes to fight. He likes to scrap. Absolutely zero defense. And most of his finishes come on bottom. He'll take you down. He'll mount you, take you back, and he'll just rain ground and pound until he melts you. He picks it up as the fight goes on. But if you can stuff his takedowns, which happens quite a lot if anyone is physical, his wrestling is not the best. You can ping him around because, not the best striking defense. He got sprawled and brawled by Chris McCarthy, and then he got knocked out by Douglas, who's in the UFC, and he's just been getting hit and hurt in a lot of these fights. So I think Douglas de Silva de Andrade has potential KO upside. I mean, that's his path. Can he win a decision here? Maybe he can sprawl and brawl as well. I mean, maybe he's better at featherweight. He's 40 years of age, but he really still seems like a good fighter. I mean, he beat Cody Stamann, but he was almost knocked out badly in round 3. Saeed beat him, but that was a very close fight. Sergey Morozov almost knocked him out, but he rallied back and dropped him and then submitted him. So, I don't know, man. This guy doesn't really fight like a 35-plus, 40-year-old fighter. So, I'm not really feeling Javier Reyes at this price. I think I'll live bet it. But I didn't mind the under. The under is a pick'em, but personally, I would rather play doesn't go, because Reyes is an attritional guy, and I kind of want to rely on his cardio and some round 3. He might not be able to get a takedown on Douglas de Silva de Andrade until round 3. So, yeah. Let me just have a quick look what the doesn't go is there. Right, the over is taking action on Javier Reyes and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Javier inside the distance, that's pretty crap. Doesn't go decision, $1.70. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Similar price to the Ode one, which burnt me. Aussie Fight Fan, does Silva sub have a chance at 31? No, man, I wouldn't put any money on Erik Silva. Even if you're a dog chase, I get it, but the guy's not UFC level, man. The guy's not UFC level. Jack MT, Silva KO. Douglas De Silva, yeah, I mean, that's live. I mean, with that striking defense, very live. Got all the Aussies in here, right? It's a nice prime time for the Aussies, for the live listeners. Alrighty, let's move on. What do we got next? Cristian Quinonez versus Kris Moutinho. Honestly, call me crazy. I think Kris Moutinho is a little bit live here. Right? I don't think he's as bad as people say. Right? This line is obviously a bit wild. I don't think his chin's that bad. Obviously, he's quite hittable. He showed it even against Malcolm Wellmaker. He took a lot of shots before he was finally knocked out. Even against what's his name, Sean O'Malley, right? If Sean O'Malley didn't have such great footwork for 15 minutes, maybe he would have caught up to him. Maybe he would have broken him. Maybe he would have landed something. He knocked out this Matteo Silva, who just became a Fury UFC champion recently, knocked out Cameron Graves with one punch. He's a karate combat guy. All right, so I think if this extends, he could have some value. But the issue here is Cristian Quinonez does have good footwork, really nice boxing on the back foot as well. Came into the UFC, knocked out Kali Taha with a good counter. He hurt Kang, and then he rushed in and he got hurt himself and got submitted. And, Haroni Barcelos, he hurt Haroni, got hurt himself and got submitted eventually. He's a little bit fragile. Like, he doesn't have a Mexican chin, and he can be submitted. But, yeah, I mean, at this price, man, he hasn't fought in 2 years again. Yeah, this is Kris Moutinho pass, but I think I'd rather live bet this. The under 1.5, it's kind of calling my name. It's like, as I said, Kris Moutinho is pretty durable in my opinion. But at the same time, he's going to come forward. He's going to be a punching bag. He's going to give Quinonez plenty of opportunities to knock him out. But, yeah, I haven't decided on it yet. But no way would I be putting Quinonez in any parlays. Speaking of not putting people in parlays, Macy Chiasson versus Ailin Perez. All right, so Perez is minus 200, right? That's because she can get takedowns here. Macy Chiasson has just fluffed her last 2 fights against Vera, doing stupid shit like she's always done, trying to pull guard, trying to take down Yana Santos for 3 rounds, failing, eventually taking her down in round 3, almost rear naked, choking her. But she got outstruck, struck and moved on in rounds 1 and 2. I think she was winning round 2. It was much closer. And then she ate a front kick to the dome, which, in my opinion, lost her that round and lost her the fight. But Ailin Perez doesn't have that kind of striking. She might have better wrestling than both Ketlen Vieira and Yana Santos. But at minus 200, right? Ever since she's moved up in the ranking, she's not really covering that price versus Pudilova, Jocelyn Edwards, Daria, whatever, she finished there, and Carla Rosa. She's winning, but she's not covering minus 200. So even though it's a good matchup for her against Macy, I think she might do something stupid. She might get dropped. Just from a pure value perspective, it's a dog or pass. But it is Macy Chiasson. It's a tough click, but she is a good underdog. She was an underdog against Moreno Silva. Her under against Penny Kianzad, I remember this, $3.50. I played it. Her under, big plus money. So she's good to play as an underdog, which she is here. So it's a clear dog or pass. Whoever has the stomach for it, all the best. All the best to you. All right. Look at some comments. Glimbot, what's up? Jacked. Kris Moutinho round 3, 31 odds. Wow, that's up there. I think Kris Moutinho could do it in round 2, man. Just because he's so aggressive. And plus, has anyone finished Kris Moutinho sub round 3? Ooh, how crazy will that be? There's ways to play this card. There's some interesting ways. I'm just having a look. Kris Moutinho round 2. I think Kris Moutinho could do it in round 2. In a weird way. All right, let's move on. Jose Medina, Ryan Gandra. What is there to say about this fight? I think Jose Medina shouldn't be in the UFC. He's lucky that Dana White was in a good mood when he was getting his ass kicked in Dana White Contender Series and he got signed, but 4-0, 0-4, including the Contender Series. He can't beat anyone. He has no redeeming qualities. He's not even tough. People say he's tough, but he's getting finished in round 1 by Dushko and Ateba or whatever. everyone hurts him. Magomed hurt him. Zach Reese hurt him multiple times. This Ryan Gandra, people are saying he's not that great. I get it. He's not as bad as people are saying. I don't know what's so bad about him. Maybe because when he was a bit younger, he got hurt a bit, and he mainly just likes to brawl and is overly aggressive, and he hasn't fought the best people, so when he gets hurt, it's a bit of a bad look. I don't think someone like Medina should hurt him, but massive favourite. So the thing that's sticking out here is the under 1.5 rounds. It's a pick'em, which to me kind of seems accurate. Will Gandra get him out of there in 1.5 rounds, or will he not? I think it's 50% chance. Jose Medina's could be just tough enough to make it go over, so that's why it is where it's at. The only thing is maybe there's a better way to play it, because I don't really give Medina finishing upside under 1.5 rounds. So what can you play here? Let me just have a look. Gandra inside the distance, $1.40. Yeah. It's a bit ugly. Gandra by submission, $3.40. I don't mind that, right? I think Jose Medina might just be tough enough. He might be a good punching bag for a while, but then eventually I think Gandra could take him down. He's got a good arm triangle. I think even a rear naked choke. I'm not too sure. Let me have a look. Arm triangle. Nah, don't know. What's his KO? Let me look on Bet365. $2.30. Yeah, it's favored. It's a bit trash. Gandra round 1 KO. It's a bit trash. Round 2, $4 maybe. There's a way to play him, but you just have to find the right thing. Alrighty. What do we got? I should say, I want to play the under just because Gandra is super aggressive. So surely he comes into the UFC here and thinks, wow, I know who Jose Medina is, and they're giving me this bum. I'm going to be aggressive with him too, because he was very aggressive in the NY Contender Series, and he's been aggressive in his last 2 LFA fights. So surely gets him out of there. Glimbot. Ailin ground and pound KO 8-1, and the fight doesn't go this and seem like this and looks, yeah, always a good look in Macy fights. We'll have a look. Medina, sloppy, go to distance. Yeah, maybe. I think people are overvaluing Medina's toughness. Gandra power combinations are scary. If it gets out of round 1, probably goes. Yeah, possibly. Sin. Hi, Steve. Do you have access to FNC bets? I do not, because there were only once on Bet Online when the UFC wasn't on, and it was great for betting. But never again. So, yeah, without Bet Online, I can't bet it. I think Gandra gasses 4 to 5 minutes. He might if he brawls, if he comes out aggressive. Litz for 1-2. Shout out Big Steve. What do you think of Gandra 1-2? $1.62? Yeah, that could be a safe-ish alternative, I guess. Yeah, that could be it. Alrighty. Santiago Luna versus Ailin Pacheco. Another bum that Dana White has signed by being tough and losing on Dana White Contender Series. Basically, massive line on Santiago Luna. And I get it. It just comes down to he's 21. He's got a lot of potential. He's UFC level. And Angel Pacheco, he's not. And he's 34 years of age. He gets hurt by everyone. His best win is Wilson Nagrioni, Albanian dude from CFFC. Props to him. That was a good win, but he got hurt there too. Came back. Danny Silva beat the piss out of him. Colin Lauren beat the piss out of him. And that was a crap injured Lauren that seems completely washed now. Now he's losing to Jack Cartwright in PFL, which is embarrassing. So, yeah, the guy also hasn't fought in 2 years or a year and 10 months since that fight, which is interesting. A lot of layoffs on this card. So, yeah, I think if you like anything, the under 1.5 would pick him again is standing out to me just because Pacheco, hurt in 3 back-to-back round 1s. Right? None of these other bums have hurt him, but that's complete cans. So at 34 years of age, maybe it's finally time to get knocked out. I think Santiago Luna hits harder than all 3 of these guys, Wilson, Danny Silva, and Lauren. So under 1.5 would pick him. I think this is one where Pacheco does actually have some finishing upside. So I wouldn't just be playing, Santiago Luna 1 and 2. I would play safer with under 1.5. But Luna can be cracked. He got dropped by Quang Lee. He's been dropped on by these other guys in the regionals. He's quite young, right? He was 18 19 in some of those fights. But yeah, just some sort of Luna finishing props. Luna round 1 KO, it's quite generous. It's like $3 something, $4. Let me have a look. So yeah, just find out how to play it. I think Luna is quite a good finisher. I played the under 2.5 in his last fight against Kwangli, and that was a pick'em. So it's a bit of a harder click now. The bookies have caught on a bit. What's his round 1? Luna round 1 KO. Yeah, it's $4.50 plus $3.50. Not bad for a $100 poke. Alrighty. Imanol Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. I think Imanol Rodriguez is the real deal. He's got some good wins already, some good level of competition. 26 years of age. Well, I actually thought he was a bit younger than that. I thought he was like 24. 26 years of age. You know, he knocked out Alberto Trujillo on Fury FC. Trujillo has fought Aldin Correa and Garule. They both fought him on Fury FC, and Trujillo actually beat Correa, but Garule beat him, and he's never been knocked out. And then Imanol Rodriguez knocked him out in 2024. It's a great test for a young fighter. And obviously this Memon guy, the Indian dude, an Ultimate Fighter that he ran through, that was a tough fight. I want to see more of that Indian guy. He's tough. And obviously Joseph Morales. He lost a split to Joseph Morales. He grappled and backpacked Joseph Morales in round 3. So the kid, even though he boxes and he knocks everyone out, he's got grappling. He seems well-rounded. He seems ready for this level. Knocked out a 10-2 guy in Contender Series. I think he should win this. And honestly, compared to some of the other chalky alternatives on this card, like I expected him to be a bit more chalky, but he's not. Right? Kevin Borjas has 1 win in the UFC. It's Lazy Boy. I played him there, 30-27, but Lazy Boy is awful. He's a fade. Got ran through by Alessandro Costa and kind of ran through by Sumidezi. He didn't really do anything in those fights. Like, he seems like he wants a pretty fight, and sometimes it just doesn't show up, and there's a bit of adversity. So I just feel like Imanol will bully him. He'll bully him. He might finish him. I haven't decided yet. The under is plus money, slight plus money. Imanol KO is slight plus money. So I'm just thinking, what do I do here? It could be a little bit forced because Kevin Borjas will run away. He will run away the whole time. That's the issue. And Imanol, I think Imanol was live for a sub. As I said, he took Morales' back. He's got a submission on the regionals. And even the Indian guy, as he heard him, he took his back and he was flattening him out. So potential there. Fight doesn't start round 3, $2. Maybe that's a good option. Interesting. But yes, I think Imanol should roll here. What I do like about the guy, he doesn't really have one-punch KO power, but when he hurts you, he just swarms you. His ground and pound is brutal. The kid's always looking for a finish. Alrighty. Glimbot. Angel recently got his BJJ black belt, I believe. Yeah, that's cool, I guess. Do you think Imanol gets 1 takedown? I think you mean Imanol? I mean, he could, but we're just speculating here. It just depends. Will he go for it? I know you're trying to play some Neds, some sports bet takedown props, but I personally wouldn't get involved in this fight because it's not lockish enough. Imanol sub 6-1. I think Borjas' chin is durable, but he might give up his back. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's that durable personally. I think it's more so he doesn't like getting hit. And in this one fight where he was rear naked choked by Renzo Mendes, he was also badly knocked down with a head kick. So it was a club and sub. Alrighty, let's move on. Edgar Chairez versus Felipe Bunes. This is one fight that I'm not really interested in. I don't really understand this fight. Like, it's going to be a quality fight from an entertainment perspective. I don't think these guys are too far apart, honestly. Felipe Bunes is good everywhere. Great striking, elite jiu-jitsu, solid wrestling, power, tall, long. But the only issue is very old and he falls apart. He's got cardio issues, which has never been fixed, and they're not any better with the age. So 2-1 in the UFC, he's rarely fought as well. Joshua Van and Rafael Esteban, not the worst losses, but Edgar Chairez is good as well. So I don't know. I think this is going to be competitive until it's not, until Bunes slows down. But before then, Edgar Chairez can be taken down. They have similarities. They both have no takedown defense because they're both confident in their guard. Will Chairez hit a triangle or guillotine on Felipe Bunes? I don't think so. The only guy to submit Bunes was Formiga, which is an elite loss. Chairez himself has been submitted, right, twice, by Jesus Aguilar and some random Mexican 2018. But Jesus Aguilar, old boy, is fighting soon enough. Got him with the old patented guillotine choke. But then again, Tatsuro Tara couldn't submit him for 3 rounds. So, yeah, because of that, I initially liked it over 1.5 rounds. I feel Bunes, no one's really finishing Bunes under 1.5, even when he gasses. But now it's trending towards minus 200, and they both are so dangerous. They both have such finishing upside that I don't see any value at minus 200 for it to go over, even though I think it will. So maybe you can play Chairez inside the distance. Maybe you can play Chairez 2-3 seems popular. If you favor him, you think it's going to go into round 3. That's a way to do it. Chairez KO. Fight starts round 3. No, pick him. That's not bad. If you think Chairez can get him out of there in round 2, if he survives round 1. Yeah, but it doesn't. It's one of these fights. I don't have the best read, and I'm not interested in it. Like, I don't force these fights where I can't tell how they're going to play out because I'm just guessing. Glimbo. Edgar Bunes under 2.5 at minimal chalk seems good, and both have finishing pass. So okay, then let me have a look what the under 2.5 rounds is. Oh yeah, $1.71. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's just, how will Chairez finish him? That's the thing. Will he submit him? Finish CJ Vergara, but Daniel Lacerda, these guys are all bums, like whatever. He did hurt Joshua Van. Jaime Vasquez, the guy that just made his debut versus the worst Bashara brother. It took him 4 rounds to finish him. Couldn't finish Carpenter. Couldn't finish Jesus Aguilar. I don't know. At worst, it seems kind of accurate, but I need to do... If I'm going to bet this fight, I'm going to need to do more tape, but I'm not really interested at this point in time. All right, let's move on. Daniel Zellhuber versus King Green. I mean, if you're parlaying Daniel Zellhuber at this point, don't know what to tell you. He's dropped the ball many, many times. He's fighting King Green. Look, it's a tougher fade with King Green because he's so old, so washed. He's got chin issues. I think Michael Johnson, as flaky and untrustworthy as he is, I think he's a better person to beat someone like Zellhuber. His process and his boxing is much more linear. Whereas King Green, he just came back after a brutal knockout against Ruffy and fought Lance Gibson Jr. And he went to a split decision, which is not a good look. Lance Gibson Jr., in my opinion, is not good at all. All he has is athleticism. And I don't think it was a split decision. I thought King Green had more sense of a 30-27 than a 29-28 for Gibson. But just the way he fights, he couldn't close the distance. The kicks, Lance Gibson kicks were keeping him away, and he tries to close distance with his hands down, and Gibson was just kicking and running, and he covered a marathon with all this back foot movement. So Zellhuber can do the same. Zellhuber was just smashing kicks against MJ, and MJ was catching and returning. But Green is just going to catch. He's just going to catch, and the volume's going to rack up, and he might even need a head kick because Green gets hurt with head kicks all the time. He has his hands low. So yeah, it's a step down from Esteban Ribovics, that's for sure, and definitely from Ribovics, and I think it's a step down from Michael Johnson as well. Just styles make fights. If you favor Bobby Green, then I'll play the over 2.5 rounds. I'm actually surprised by that price. It is $1.70. So yeah, basically you just have to fade. It's pick'em on Bet365. You just have to fade a Zellhuber finish over a washed King Green, and the thing's going over. So obviously the bookies they're 50-50 on will Zellhuber finish Green or not. So if you like that, that's the way I would go. And then I'll just live bet King Green because you can tell in Zellhuber fights when he's going to lose, honestly. All right, Marlon Chito Vera versus the David Martinez. Yeah, they're really stitching up Marlon Chito Vera here. They're giving him a guy that's an elite minute winner. David Martinez, he's just going to calf kick and move, stick and move. He's got great cardio, great volume. And Chito will not do that. He is the opposite of that. He will throw away round one. He might hurt you, and then he'll pressure and probably won't do anything. I live bet him against Zahabi. Right at the knockdown, I had a great line. I went even bigger because I felt confident. I'm like, round 3, that's his best round. Zahabi's old. He's going to fall apart now. And he just lost the fight. I said, never again. I'm never betting this motherfucker again. So, yeah, it's Martinez. Martinez's decision it's disgusting. It's minus money. So, yeah, whatever. I don't know what to say. I don't know if I can advocate for this kind of price for such a step up for Martinez. $1.33. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Maybe you can play the Marlon Vera handicap. Like, he always wins a round. Right? It would have been good against Zahabi. It would have been good against everyone. So, yeah, not much to say about that fight. Alrighty, and at the main event, Brandon Moreno, Leon Kavanagh. Decent fight. Kavanagh really unproven. Just got knocked out by Charles Johnson, and now he's getting a main event against one of the best flyweights ever in Mexico, in his hometown, on short notice. So, bit of a big step up for him to prove himself, but a lot of the lads are playing Kavanagh, and I kind of get it. You look at the tape, Kavanagh's younger. He's very explosive. He's got power. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot to cover here. Like, he's quite hittable. He's got chin issues. He's been hurt in a lot of fights, even before the Charles Johnson fight. And, I think he can get takedowns of Moreno. I think Moreno is a little bit washed. But in every single fight, Jose Ochoa hurt him, Felipe dos Santos, he kind of slew down against him. He uses wrestling. He uses wrestling against Sean the Silva as well, which is a good win in Cage Warriors. But yeah, I don't know. I need to dig more in this one. The line is kind of not budging anywhere. It seems, even though Moreno is washed, he's still out there and he's beating Erceg and Amir Albazi in back-to-back fights. And before that, split decision to Royval, where he looked awful. He was compromised and he almost won. And then he almost won a split against Pantoja. So losing to Tyra is no biggie. Like, Tyra, a completely different matchup. He'll take you back. He's got elite control. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of this fight. Maybe an under, maybe an over. But, yeah, that's where we're at. Wimbot, is there value in the David inside the distance? Plus 450. I know Vera's never been finished, but it could be an ego spot. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'll just play the no scorecards. All right, I think the no scorecards is going to favor Vera. I always play his no scorecards because of his durability, but if you really favor it, just play David Martinez no scorecards. The guy couldn't even knock out Jose Font, but I do think he's got underrated power. All right, so personally, I like Damian Pinas via KO. Marshall inside the distance any way he likes. We'll see if I like the under 1.5. I like Tarin or pass. The Andrade Reyes, I think this one doesn't go. Quinonez, Kris Moutinho, dog or pass. Perez, Chiasson, dog or pass. Ryan Gandra, I think he could run through Medina. We'll see. Luna, I think he's going to run through Pacheco. Imanol Rodriguez, I think he's definitely beating Borjas. Chares, Bunes, weird fight. But competitive, I think, for early 7.5 minutes. Zellhuber versus Green. I like the over if you like Green. Marlon Vera, Martinez, whatever. And Kavanagh, Moreno, whatever. But a high-level fight. Might be a good live bet fight, actually. All right, that's it. No official bets as of now, but I'm loading up 3 to 4 bets minimum. And I smell violence on this card, so that's a comeback for Steve. I can feel it. Alrighty. Thanks everyone. Wimbot. Peace out. Like and subscribe.